I would say do not be naive to what is coming and what is already here. I wrote this down already. It's going to be incorporated into your business, into your life. Do not fight it.
This is going to be a hell of a discussion, especially, around the blue collar skilled trade industry. I think the most exciting part about what we do is that AI can't do what our technicians can do, right? But it can do a whole hell of a lot else.
I think AI is going to come in and quickly save a lot of time, and we sell time.
Rich, how long have we been connected now?
Geez. I mean, it feels like a long time, but probably not that long. I mean, I don't even know if it's 10 years yet. Maybe close. Maybe 2017.
Yeah. Something like that, right? So probably rounding the corner on 10 years, man. It's been a hell of a journey. It's been fun. I think, from my observation, we've kind of done this divide and conquer thing around the industry, right? I started Blue is the New White at the same time you kind of started Fed Nation, and kind of hit things from all angles, building these communities and talking about the things that matter, and really just trying to make a dent in our own way. And obviously our paths are super crossed and intertwined, and our passions are aligned for the industry, the people in the industry, and then obviously there's similarities in our businesses and even how we came into the business, so it's a pleasure to have you here today, and talk to you. You've been on the show now a couple of times, and It's been a while. And I know that in that while, right, that we're talking about, a lot has happened for you. You've seen a lot of growth in your business. Transformation maybe is a better word, for you and your business and everything that you're going through, and I love going through this journey and being able to see you from afar. And obviously we meet up when we can and stuff like that. But it's been fun, man. And I think that in the last couple of years, there's been, through this transformation, many, many lessons that now we can kind of pass on through a conversation like this, which is why I asked you to come on the show. So welcome, man. Welcome back.
Well, listen, thank you for having me. I'm always grateful to be here and jump on Blue is the New White. And I'm excited to chop it up.
Let's do it, dude. So before we get any further, like by the end of the conversation, what is it that you want the listeners to take away?
So if I wanted the listeners to take anything away, I would say do not be naive to what is coming and what is already here. I wrote this down already. All right. It's going to be incorporated into your business, into your life. Do not fight it. Embrace it. It is going to take things to a whole other level. Don't be naive to AI. Embrace it and go with the flow.
All right, man. It's going to set the stage for a conversation that we could take for 3 or 4 hours, I'm sure. I won't do that to you. But you know what? Honestly, I'm so glad that you brought that up. This is going to be a hell of a discussion, especially, around the blue collar skilled trade industry, even more specifically, maybe our little corner of the industry, which is food equipment service, right? And AI is going to have a huge impact. However, right, I think the most exciting part about what we do is that AI can't do what our technicians can do, right? But it can do a whole hell of a lot else. So let's talk about it for a minute, man. What do you mean when you say don't be naive?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, we all want to increase our profit margins, right? We want to, build a great culture and be futuristic in doing that. A lot of people today, I think most, they want to work for a company that is forward thinking, is purpose driven. And, for us here on the beautiful East Coast, in Jersey, New York City, I think we're going to start seeing things develop really fast from eyewear, glasses, coming in and helping diagnose things. Just having everything just right there at the forefront, right here, right in front of you. We're going to be able to type things into GPT before we get there, or the technician will do that on site. We're going to start, even the software that we're going to be probably utilizing very soon is going to allow us to bring things up right in the technician app, saying, "Hey, listen, I have an ignition failure on a Logic convection, and it's going to give you possible solutions, OEM part numbers, everything you need." How much time do we spend looking up part numbers? How much time on the back end? All these things. So I think AI is going to come in and quickly save a lot of time, and we sell time. So if we could get some time back, get some billable hours back, close the gap on the windshield time, as we call it. I think you're going to see companies out there becoming more profitable, and the companies that care about their employees, that's just going to come back to them through the culture, that of a people first type thing. So it's going to be a win-win in all those aspects.
Which companies do you think are going to be more profitable?
Which companies do I think will be more profitable?
Yeah.
As far as from like the service companies perspective,
Yeah,
manufacturer.
the people in our industry, the companies in our industry, right? Which ones do you think will profit the most out of this new technology? Like, not naming specifically, but what type of mindset, what type of culture, what type of crew, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I would say obviously for me, we're still a fairly small business. I mean, we're approaching the 50 to 52 employee mark here, so things are changing. But I think smaller businesses that are running lean and mean have a really great opportunity, because not to bash anybody, it's just a lot of these companies that are at a large scale, it's hard to turn adjust the sales and turn the ship and get everything going in this direction. So I think the mindset of the business owner, especially the 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, maybe up to 100 employee firms, really need to double down and pay attention to how this can shape their business and moving forward. I mean, it's even from training, just getting guys on the road. You're going to look to grow. You're going to be able to train faster. What does that look like? We're gonna all find out together in the next 6 to 12 months, because it's going to be that fast that these things develop. So yeah, I mean, the old school mentality of there was a quote the other day that says, we all used Windows 95. We don't use Windows 95 anymore, but we still shape our opinions about when Windows 95 came out. There's a lot of that old school thinking, and it's all got to be thrown out the window for me. I mean, this is not my father's company anymore. This is Malachy, 5.0 at this point, and so it's going to be ripe for the taking for the savages, I'd say, that are gonna double and triple down.
No, I really like that answer, and I think depending on what lens you look through, there's certain cautions that exist. I think that there's two companies that are going to benefit the most. Like you said, the smaller companies, right? The ones that are actually super small, that maybe haven't adopted a lot of technology yet. So the first technology they do adopt is the AI, so they're starting from a baseline. Then you've got the larger companies that have the resources to put towards the AI, but implementation, rollouts, all that stuff, to your point, is a lot slower, right? So when they get their resources correct and they do finally adopt, these bigger companies are only going to become more powerhouses, right? But those smaller companies, yeah, I think that there's an opportunity there for them to really, ride the wave, if you will, and adopt this technology. I fear most for the mid-sized companies, right? The ones that maybe have an older mindset, I mean, the one that you love so much, right? This is how we've always done it, so this is how it must work best, right? Those, I think, that's like the danger zone, right? And or maybe the companies that are strapped for cash, don't have a lot of resources to put towards it. The cost around this stuff, I think, is a whole nother discussion of what direction that's going to go and how it's going to consolidate and all that kind of stuff. I guess, so my next question is, when thinking about AI, especially in this business where we know it can't replace the jobs of the technicians, what happens to the jobs of the support staff?
Yeah, I know there's everyone's scared that it's coming to take everybody's jobs, and everyone's gonna be out on the street with nothing to do. I just don't think. I think it's quite the contrary. I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna. And listen, this is gonna be for the people that embrace it. Again, the people that are gonna say, "Hey, listen, I want to be a part of the change. I want to be a part of the growth." And if AI it can come in and empower the humans doing it, they give them bigger, greater capabilities. I mean, we're looking at the software we're talking about now. A lot of this smart mapping, smart dispatch stuff, where it's going to take a lot of the guesswork out and thinking. Again, in our business, we're trying to get guys from point A to point B as fast as we can, as safe as we can. So, smart dispatch, we're going to be seeing that very soon. And I'm sure companies are seeing it now, where you don't have to think. The call comes in and it shows you the closest technician with the closest skills, with the closest everything. That dispatcher can now route that guy quick, get it out. So there's still going to be people driving this thing,
Yeah.
and I think that's what people have to understand. Humans are not going away. we,
No.
we are quintessential to the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't see anything bad happening. Again, it's going to be for the ones that are not naive and are going to say, hey, listen, I'm going full throttle, and we're going to grow together.
Yeah, no, I love that answer. And I can tell you put a lot of thought into this already. Probably many sleepless nights staring at the ceiling, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah.
I get a similar thing myself. So someone said to me recently something that really resonated, and I think it kind of speaks to your point. It's that they said that AI is going to automate the ordinary and humanize the extraordinary. And so the example they gave was the brand Chewy. You know Chewy. The pet food brand. You got two giant dogs at home now. You probably know what that is, right? So Chewy's that's the company that I think they were just bought by PetSmart not long ago for like $1 billion or some crap.
Yeah, yeah.
But they sold all the same products. They did all the same things. Prices weren't any cheaper or more expensive or anything than PetSmart. It was all the same shit, Rich. And yet they were able to succeed in the marketplace. And one of the reasons why is because they were able to do this. They were able to humanize the extraordinary, right? There's stories, countless stories on the internet about how like people would reach out to here's an example, right? A lady reached out to Chewy and said, hey, I just bought this bag of dog food, but unfortunately my dog just passed away. Can I return it? Is this something I can just return? And Chewy came back and they said, no, don't return it. We'll still give you your money back, but go donate it to somebody who has a dog or give it to someone who could make use of it. And then like 2 days later, she got a bouquet of flowers in the mail with a handwritten card from everybody in the office that said, we're so sorry for your loss. And they found a picture of her dog on Facebook or something and made a picture, a mural of it that she could hang on her. I mean, unbelievable,
Wow.
right? Those are the types of things. And we hear this all over the place, right? We hear this with Zappos and we hear this with Chewy. And there's a bunch of other companies that have done similar things. But I think that, Rich, in this industry, if we look at it through that lens, it presents a hell of an opportunity for us.
It does, and that's a beautiful story, and that's really what you know. It's just that would be near and dear to my heart. I love that. And talking about AI and talking about how don't be naive. We also can't be naive to the fact that we can't lose that human touch, right? We have to make sure that we're paying attention to our employees and team members around us, and what they might be going through, and being empathetic, and our customers reaching out on in certain instances, just like this Chewy story. I mean, and just being there for somebody in their time of need. That's worth more than any dollar amount. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
that's stuff from when you talk on the heartstrings. I mean, that's you're building a relationship for life there, and that was a great story.
Yeah, I really like that you said that too, because I think this kind of leads us into maybe some of the cautions, right? So I would ask you, in your story, not losing the human touch, right, and still staying connected to your relationships and your team and your family and all this kind of stuff. Let's say somebody on your own team, lost a parent or a brother or somebody close to them, right? Would you ask AI to write the card for you?
No, definitely
No.
not.
No,
No.
no, and I think these are the cautions we've got to, we've got to be very careful of, because people see this as a hell of a tool, which it is, and a time saver, but it could very easily have the opposite effect that you're trying to create, because you've forgotten, the reason for being human, for lack of a better term, right? And we see this everywhere, right? And listen, I use AI, I use ChatGPT all the time for social media marketing, posts like that now. But what I'm noticing is there's almost a premium on mistakes, spelling errors, grammar errors, because you know what? Somebody looks at that now and says, somebody actually wrote that shit. AI didn't do it. What are you seeing on that front?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's somewhat easy to tell when AI is writing stuff out. And listen, I'm not trying to like hide it. Like I've been doing a lot of that stuff on LinkedIn recently in the past 2 weeks, just really just
me too.
diving in and messing around with it. And I do listen. I flip some words and I flip some things and I change it into more of my tone and I do some things like that. But it helps develop it out for me a lot quicker. Because people always say, hey, where do you find the time? Well, I find a lot more time now that I could actually plug some things in, get some ideas, rework it to me, and put it out there. It's we're still people, and we still have to go forth out into the world and build relationships as people. Whether and I'll just tell you, like, even at the end of the past, I'd say 3 years now, I get Christmas cards that I buy from Walgreens or wherever I go get them, and I handwrite notes to every single employee with their bonus in it, and I get it out to them that way, so they can see that. Listen, it's in the good old pen, handwritten, everything in there, and everyone's an individual, and I know them all differently, so I put all different messages in them, and I want them to know I'm taking time. I actually give a shit about you, your family. I'm grateful for the hard work you did all year, I'm sure it's a little sloppy, and there could be some misspellings, and it's all just real and comes from the heart. So those are the things that I don't care if it's 2025, 2055. You can't lose that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? As you're talking, it's gotten me thinking, and we always hear that the rarest commodity that we have is time, right? Which makes it the most valuable resource that we can give or receive. And when we're talking about a new technology, almost a revolution, now that its entire objective is to save and manipulate time, I think that's where the dangers come in, but it also presents the opportunities, because just like you said, when you take the time to write out that card to every single employee, telling them how you feel and how grateful you are, it's the time it took to write that really speaks the volumes. And now with AI, with this incredible tool at our fingertips, it almost means more. So is it making, I guess it poses a good question, is it making our time more valuable? Like, from a relationship standpoint?
Yeah. Especially as I'm getting older here now, 43, it's time is of the essence, it feels like, and I know a lot of people say, oh, you're still young. And relatively speaking, if we have 100 years, I'm not even at halftime yet. But, time is fleeting here. And if we can gain some moments back throughout the day, gives us back some time, I think it also gives us opportunity to have some more clarity, to reach out, be able to reach out to more people. For me, I'm on a forever journey of reaching out to people, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's text messages to the employees, phone calls to the employees, phone calls to customers, staying in touch with guys like you. I mean, you get time back. But we do have to be thoughtful. We have to be thoughtful about what we put out there and make sure that what we're putting out there is real too.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really great point. So let's shift gears. Let's get a little more tactical here. What are you doing, if anything, to roll this technology out to your team today? Have you taken steps other than just yourself to get this into your business?
So it's right now we're in the works with a couple of things. Obviously, we've been using XOI for a long time, which is, not maybe somewhat AI-ish, right? and that's been definitely a little bit of a game changer here for us with that, and being able to be transparent, because in any trade, you really want to be able to show your work, and make sure that the customer and the vendor and manufacturer, anybody you're in contact with, knows you're doing the job you're saying you're doing, which I love. I love to show that every day. We're going to be investing in some new software that's coming down the pike. I've already had some communication with the team, brief stuff right now. I'm not really making it too publicly known what we're doing yet, but I will. Um, and this software, I think, is going to be for us, one of the things I wanted to do. Obviously, with being AI driven, I want to be able to give the customer experience. That's going to help me, through text messages, through getting quotes to customers faster, allowing them to approve things faster. The capabilities, again, through the technicians apps that they have, it's going to have the capabilities where they can plug and play things that are happening to the equipment, that they can get foresight before they get to the jobs. They're going to get schematics popping up. They're going to get parts manuals popping up. They're going to get part numbers for things they type in, all very quickly at their fingertips. So that's just a couple of things down the pike, and we're working on some GPT chatbot stuff on our website right now. We're going to be developing that, and I am, in the media team, we are developing some AI, I'll say, influencers that we're going to be using for technician recruitment.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that. Something tells me you can't speak too much on it right now, but anything you can tell me?
I mean, it's in the beginning stages. I can tell you that what I'm doing is, there's going to be a website, and it's going to kind of basically be one of those things where we're having our AI influencer as a technician, and let's call him Mac for the time being. And Mac is going to be out there just talking about the industry, talking about what we have to offer, what the industry has to offer, and just kind of showing it from that kind of a perspective. As we talk about all the time, college versus the trades and all this stuff like that. Work harder, not smarter, or how about do both, right? That's what Mac's going to show you. So there'll be some things down that line. We're just kind of getting our feet wet.
Oh man, that's cool. I hadn't even thought about that direction. That's pretty slick, dude. All right. So let's all right, so we've talked a little bit about AI. I'm going to have more questions probably later in the show, but let's move to a more human aspect right now, and talk about maybe whatever you're open to talking about. I mentioned this transformation over the last couple of years that I've noticed with you, and if I've noticed it, I think that means that others have noticed it too. A lot has been happening with you, with your business. I'm curious, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what are some lessons that you've learned recently about business, life, and everything in between?
Yeah, I would say, man, I'm going through some tough times in the business world, I'll say, and not from a point where no one should feel bad for me. By the way, this is not about that. It's just there, when you're growing, and one of my favorite quotes that I always love to say is, change is inevitable, growth is optional, and you want to surround yourself with the best, right? Because this does not happen alone. I have not become, we have not become Malachy, Parts and Service of today, without all the good people I've had around me. So it takes a village, and right now we're in the process of with all the changes in the industry, from labor, the labor force, insurances. Just everyone wanting a first time fix, but then the NTE stops the first time fix. And then there's just a million things going on at once. And now we're building a leadership team. And, with that comes, from team members that have been on with us for a long time. It's like, well, what's going on here? I mean, the simplest thing is that, we're going to soar with the Eagles here. So get ready for what's next. We're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're going to start doing things we never did. Ray Dalio said, boy, how stupid I was a year ago. Because you just don't know what you don't know. And, if you keep operating, with yesterday's logic, you could forget 2026, 2027. This is not to scare anybody that's trying to build something. Again, this is the contrary. This is like, hey, listen, the stress is going to be there. The early morning is going to be there. The late nights are going to be there. The struggles with all the different personalities and egos in the room, because we're all human. You just have to continue to fight through every day and get to that hopefully middle ground where everybody sees where this thing is headed. And where this is headed, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this is headed to 100 technicians, and we're at 30 right now. So we got some work to do, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now, with just in the transformation stage for sure.
I love that. And you know what, you said something that reminded me of one of my favorite quotes, which is you want to go fast, do it alone. You want to go far, do it together. You know, and
Yes.
and you know, that's important to understand in business, because I think a lot of times, and not all the time, right, but a lot of times when we start, our egos in the driver's seat, right, and you know, we try to take on anything and everything that we possibly can. If somebody isn't doing it right, no problem, we'll do it ourselves, right? And then we grow, right? We change, and then we choose to grow, right? As according to Rich. And one of the choices that we make in that growth is to let go and to trust others and to empower them, right? To be autonomous with their decisions, and ultimately your business, which is probably the single most difficult thing, you know, a business owner or leader can do is let go, right? And so it's just, I think it's a testament to, you know, wanting to and needing to evolve to grow. So I'm trying to think of like what question this is leading me into, but I guess what. Let me ask you this. So, getting to 100 technicians from 30 now. What have you done to get to 30, and what do you need to do to get to 100?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Because it still blows me away that we're here. You know,
I know,
that we're
right?
that we're this far along. Because when you go back to 2012, we had about 8, 9, 10 guys, you know, bouncing around every close to 12, and then went back to 10. And it was just, you know, it was like one of those things. You know what it was. First of all, you know, taking over from my father, it was a major culture shift here, and it's since 2012. It's 13 years in the making to get to this point. We were changing the culture, and we wanted it to be for the people. You know, it's
Yeah.
all about the people. And not that my father didn't care about people. It's just we went in a little bit of a different direction, and we really wanted to bring the best employment packages, the best insurances, the best paid time off, the best holidays, the most leniency that we can, and realistically to give people back more time with their families. Like we now close the day after Thanksgiving. Everyone gets a 4-day weekend with their family. I just every now and then I'll pick days here and there. We closed on Good Friday for the Easter weekend for people. They had a 3-day weekend there. You know, so we do different things like that throughout the year. We do family days. This is our 3rd annual coming up. We rent out a whole camp, water slides, basketball, zip lining, a million different things, food, drinks, everything. Bring your whole family. You know, there's 100 something people there. Big Christmas parties. $5,000 in giveaways. Santa Claus comes. Everything. Everyone's dressed up. It's beautiful. Like all these things to continue to give back. Plus, we do Topgolf and bowling and things throughout the year. Breakfasts. We're doing mini tech meetings now that we just started in May. That we're bringing 6, 7 guys into the clip to sit down and say, hey, questions like, hey, here, you have the keys to the castle right now. What do you change first? I want to hear what they're thinking, right? So the culture of the people, I think, has been very, very big. The turnover here is barely nothing, and we've been doing a lot of training. I'd say we're probably training 2 to 3 young guys a year, and a lot of them have been working out. We just put another one on the road about 2 weeks ago. He's killing it, 20-year-old kid. So as we move along to do that, we're gonna have to train more young guys. We're gonna have to do 5, 6 young guys, then 7, 8. You know, every year. That's how we're gonna get them on the road to get to that 100. But the number one thing is be good to your people. You're human. I'm human. We all have shit going on. Don't be, you know, don't be like everybody else. Be kind. Be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's unpack that for a second, because I think good is really subjective, and people can interpret that in different ways. I interpret it in a way that means, telling them what they need to hear, supporting their growth, right? Choosing truth over comfort, even though in the moment that may not feel good, right? To whoever it is I'm talking to. So how is it that you define good?
Yeah. I mean, you definitely said something there, is by telling people what they want to hear. And, that's, I would say that's something that I still struggle with today. Um, and it's not because, everyone wants to be liked. We all want to be friends. We all want to be, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions, for the betterment of the company. But listen, at the end of the day, for me, good is it's just simple, right? It's just doing the things that are tried and true that mom taught you back in the day. Now she's doing it to my nephews, her grandkids. Be gentle, loving, and kind. Gentle, loving, and kind. Beating that into you. Um, I answer the phone when everybody calls. I answer a text message when someone reaches out. If someone shoots me an email, I get back to them here. Anyone on this team has access to me 100% of the time. I don't care what day or time it is. No one's light bill. No one's lights are going to go off. No one's going to go hungry. No one's going to do anything, as long as I always tell them, as long as there's air in my lungs and I'm here, you guys are good. So I don't know. That's good to me, is just in that sense. That's just good. Just being a fellow brother to the people around you.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And, I like to talk about stuff like this because people are always looking for a compass. People are always looking for, either something to validate how they already feel, or maybe something to even shift their mindset. And so whenever we have an opportunity to talk about how people define something like being good, I think that helps others, really truly see, how it is that they're acting and whether or not that's in alignment with who they want to be. So that's the reason I asked. So kind of expanding on that, what keeps you up at night?
So, the carnival that goes on off in my head. There's a carnival every night around 10 p.m. Uh, yeah. My father called it. You can't run the tapes at night, kid. You can't fix your problems at midnight. Don't run the tapes. Um, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in my head. It's not just business stuff. I mean, talking about getting older. My mom's getting older. She just turned 75, and I'm very conscious of that, and I'm trying to spend as much time with her as I can, more than I ever did. And I'm scared. That scares me. I think about the people I love at night, that I'm probably going to lose. And listen, this is not to be Debbie Downer or anything. It's just, this is life. This is reality. We're going to lose people here. So that's something that keeps me up. Think about my nephews. Think about wanting them to have the world, and just seeing them enjoy themselves. I look forward to moments with them. So there's a lot of family stuff I think about. On the flip side, with the business thing, sometimes you start thinking about payroll and and insurances, and you're like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
How we need to bring in more revenue. I need to find new revenue streams. So I got like a list of new revenue streams that I want to start implementing, from the chemicals and soap and all these different things that I got in my head here. And I'm like, I gotta find somebody that does that. You're running these tapes, you're going down the line. And then you got King of Queens on in the background, and then you're letting, King of Queens. Let me forget about this for a second. Let me put that on. It's sometimes
it's a classic,
it's
man. What a great background show.
Sometimes.
Dude, I get it. You know what? And I asked that for a very specific reason. I think it showcases, the humanness that we all are subjected to, right? We're an imperfect creation. If I can astutely point that out, you know what I mean? I mean, we're largely products of, our upbringing, our environment, constantly seeking and searching how to improve and what improvement actually looks like, what it means, and we've got all these different things that we juggle, especially as business owners. Right. I think the majority of entrepreneurs, business owners out there, have the same type of circus going on in their mind, and so, it's about putting your feet on the ground in the morning the next day and making sure you're not repeating the same things that you thought and did yesterday, because that's the only way that change is ever going to happen. So if we try to compartmentalize these things and we break them out, into individual thoughts or buckets, I guess. One of my questions would be, because I think this is a big one for a lot of people, is this aging thing. I know that for me, every time I lose somebody close to me, it's like the ground beneath me shifts. It's like, something, there's this rumble, and then the rest of life just becomes a little bit more in focus. And it happens every single time, Rich. And, I just lost my grandfather almost a year ago now, last August. He was 94. He lived an incredible life, it just, we know these things are inevitable, to your point. We know they're coming. But when they do, it does not make it any easier, and it still makes us look inward and say, well, what the hell does it mean? Like, why, how can this mean something for me? Right. So I guess like the question in there is, when you have these thoughts, I mean, what is it that you're doing to bring everything else more into focus? What is it that you're doing to capitalize on the time that you have, specifically with loved ones, not in the business?
Well, I'll go back to COVID. This just makes me think of COVID. Before COVID, I really didn't care much about vacation. I really didn't go down and see my mom as much. I really didn't talk to anybody as much. I was kind of just living in my own Malachy world, in my own bubble, in my own thing. I didn't really, it was just go, 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 forget it. Yeah, vacations. And I had my father in my head, guilt tripping me, going, you don't deserve vacation. You don't deserve to take time off. I never did. You don't either. And I have all these things, right? And COVID happened and the world slowed down, and seeing things from a new perspective now. Like I mentioned, people getting older, we're all getting older, time's moving fast, kids are growing up. It was just since then we're taking vacations now. Every Labor Day weekend we go down to Cape May. At the end of every year I take a trip, for 7 days, 10 days. And then, of course we have our business travels, which are out there too, which they're important too, because you get to go connect. I get to see you. I get to see different people at different things, like, different conferences and events. And, we get to unplug a little bit and just kind of chop it up, even if it's for 20 minutes on the show floor. These are all things that are important. But just kind of putting things into perspective, like, especially if you've worked hard enough and let's talk about empowering people and you trust people. I know I could leave for a week or two and nothing's going to fall to the ground. It's not going to crumble. I have wonderful people here that are going to answer the phone, answer the emails, and move the business. So that's really it. Just grounding yourself in the moments here, because it's going to go one way. The calendar page is going to rip off one way or the other. So you might as well put things in perspective from that and go from there.
I like that. I like that answer. Sounds like you've been getting more intentional with the time that you have, which I think is a good, kind of note that people can take away. One of the things that I've been doing, I just read a great book. I'll get to that in a second, but I've been counting the time that I have with my loved ones in interactions instead of time, right? So, for instance, like, and this is for people at a distance, right? I don't live close to my mom. My mom lives back in Wisconsin, and, I look at that, I see her maybe once a year, maybe. And that's at best. It's probably once every 2 years. So, it's a different kind of math when you look at life expectancy. Let's say that she's going to live to 80, right? She's 65 now, and I think she's 65. And so that's about 15 years or so. Seems like a long time, right? But if I do only see her once every 2 years, how many times do I get to see her? Right. And that is, when you look at it like that, I mean, that's seven or eight more times. that she's
Yeah.
got with me, with her grandchildren, you know, my kids, and so you know we constantly look at, or at least I constantly look at things like that to help shape my perspective and really make those moments count. You know, the book that came from, and I think he got it from someone else, but I don't know if you've read it. It's called The 5 Types of Wealth. Have you read that book?
I heard of it, but I have not read it.
Okay, incredible book. All right, it talks about it talks about exactly what we're talking about here, right? It's I have the list up here. It's time wealth, social wealth, mental wealth, physical wealth, and financial wealth, and breaks down each and every one of those things with action steps on how to improve each one, along with like a test that you can, you know, take, answer specific questions to see where you're gapping and that kind of stuff. Sahil Bloom is the author. Incredible book. If anybody out there hasn't read it yet, just finished it a couple of weeks ago, and really, really, really enlightening. But it speaks exactly to what we're talking about right now. You know, this circus that goes on in our mind is usually, and you know, part of one of those 5 things. You know, is it our social circle? Is it our mental health? Is it our, you know, financial, which is usually tied to business, right? Is it our time? And so, you know, this stuff is, it's inevitable. We're human. We're going to think it, and I know there's a lot of people out there that get frustrated with that. Like, oh shit, I'm wasting time thinking about this. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there too. And at the end of the day,
Oh yeah.
the truth is you're not. The truth is you're thinking about it because it's that mosquito buzzing in your ear saying, hey, you need to pay the fuck attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
how do you keep it together, man? How do you keep it balanced, you know, with that circus? You know, we only talked about the timepiece, but what about all of it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think you have to be self-aware of what's going on with yourself. You really, and sometimes you need to slow down and sit down, even if you got to sit down in your kitchen or something and be like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I've been grinding. Maybe you're, you know, for me, I can tell you personally, we talked about this already, um, weeks ago, I think. You know, for me, you know, we're down here at the Jersey Shore now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and we've had business down here for many years, but we got the office open back here again. I've kind of relocated my home. We're going to be selling the North Jersey house, and I'm down here now. I needed a change of scenery, and I love the Jersey Shore. I grew up down here with my family for many years, so I know this area and I love it, and I needed that change. Um, so understanding, maybe you need to, you know, make that shift of where you live. So that could be something. Health. I mean, for me, come in January, when I was younger, I used to work out a lot. I used to do all. I mean, it was like a super big part of my life. And as I got to around my early 30s, it slowed down, and I almost basically came to a halt at around 34, 35, and I stopped. This January, I'm back. I'm back at it.
Look at that. Put those guns away, man. It's a family show.
I'm back at it, and again, don't put too much pressure on yourself. For me, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna go 3 days a week. I'm gonna eat as best as I could all week. I'm not thinking about cheat meal. Listen, if I want to have a slice of pizza, I'm gonna have a slice of pizza, and that's it. You do the best you can. Make sure you're taking some vitamins, do your research. You know, collagen and all these different things that could really help benefit you for anti-aging. And look into all this stuff because you're going to want to, you got to be here to be there for them, right? You got to be healthy for them, for the people around you. So that's important. So, self-awareness, man, just, don't beat yourself up. We're all going through it. None of us have all the answers. None of us are perfect. And I have to remind myself that often. Cause sometimes I sit here and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. You know what though? I'm not the first guy that's been here, and I won't be the last. And don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. That's the other thing. My father said the 3 hardest words for a man to say are "I need help." Don't be afraid to ask for help from anyone at any time, for anything. It just doesn't matter. Be humble and understand that we've all been down some struggles, the struggle road. So those are a few things.
Oh man, there's a lot in there. I hope everybody out there is taking notes, dude. That's some good stuff. I truly appreciate it. So, two more questions for you. The first question is, what's the most important question I haven't asked?
What is the most important question you haven't asked? Oh, geez. Um, that's a great question. Um,
Was that it? No, I'm just
you,
kidding.
you might you might have me stumped here. Where do I buy my hats?
Oh, there you go.
Citylopes.com.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Let's pivot it. Let's just say what's one impactful thing that you want the audience to know?
Well, one impactful thing, obviously we talked a lot about AI, we talked a lot about family, we talked a lot about all this stuff, and at the end of the day, you got to find happiness, and that's different to everybody. What makes me happy is not going to make you happy, and vice versa. And I don't think anybody in the world can give that to you. You have to give that to yourself. So, whatever career you're in, whatever business you're building, whatever season in life you're in marriage or in, any relationships you're in that are good or bad or whatever it might be, you gotta find happiness inside yourself to be good for everybody else. And by the way, I'm saying that knowing that I'm searching every day, right? And I don't know if it's ever I don't know if you ever find that journey ever ends, but as long as you keep digging in and you keep searching and with the purpose, I think that purpose brings about some happiness, because we all need purpose every day when we lace up our boots and go out into the world. So don't beat yourself up. Be good to yourself. Talk good to yourself, because our thoughts become our flesh. And you're not alone. There's always someone there.
All right, man. Well, now I got goosebumps and I'm ready to run through a brick wall. So with that, we'll end the show. Rich, where can people find you if they got more questions or they want to follow or they want to do business with you, whatever? Yeah,
no, my home address is my malachycares.com, richmalachy.com, thefedgroup.com, and anywhere on social, you can find us at Malachy Cares or at Rich Malachy. And also, the last shameless plug is, if you need parts, Malachy Parts Plus. Where am I? Oh, there we go.
there you go.
MalachyPartsPlus.com. We're looking to really support service companies out there. So.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you, Rich, and until next time.
You got it, brother. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Blue is the New White podcast. Be sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes. For more, please follow at Josh Zolan on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit us at blueisthenewwhite.com, where we create success, not debt, and build blue-collar heroes.